Ink ribbon.
X gon' give it to you. A lyrical phrase I'm sure most Resident Evil players are familiar with by now. The infamous and almost forgotten tyrant of Resident Evil 2 came back with a vengeance in the Resident Evil 2 remake and became an iconic monster in his own right once again. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that he's a staple in the franchise. So, from disturbing lore to walking through doors, here are 25 facts about Mr. X. First thing to get out of the way is that Mr. X is a nickname given to him by fans and has never been canon or official. Well, sort of. It's hard to pinpoint where his nickname came from because it was from multiple sources almost simultaneously, including the S.D. Perry novels, issue 4 of the comics, and the action figures released by Toy Biz, all referring to him as Mr. X. But the first instance of this nickname, as far as I could find, came from the now defunct Game Fan magazine, which published a guidebook for Resident Evil 2 and referred to him as Mr. X. The more official nickname given to him that just didn't stick was Trenchy, which Capcom attempted in Darkside Chronicles and Resistance, but it just didn't have the same ring to it.
What the? It's Trenchy again! Come on, Trenchy! You want some of this? Alright, come on now, Trenchy!
In the original Resident Evil 2, Mr. X appeared only in the second scenario, following the player only in scripted areas and most likely contributed to Nemesis being added to Resident Evil 3. In the remake though, he appears in both scenarios and this time constantly follows you as he patrols the RPD. One big change from the original is that in the classic game, when you took him down, he would not only drop ammo, but he'd disappear for a while, not chasing you until the next scripted moment. In the remake, he simply takes a knee for about 30 seconds before he stands back up and then keeps on chasing you.
Better get moving.
In these early concept art sketches, you can see that he was originally meant to wield a gun and also had some different jacket concepts. The gun concept was later reused for Nemesis. Also in his original designs was a bowler hat, which was cut out of the original but added back in for the remake. It's also worth noting that not only can you shoot his hat off, but if you do, you'll notice that he becomes very aggressive. And for some reason in Claire's scenario, when he appears in the parking garage after unlocking the shutter, he will be missing his hat regardless of whether you shot it off or not. The reason he's wearing a hat and trench coat is so that he could better blend in with humans, which a giant naked tyrant with an exposed heart and large claw arm would not be able to do. They even made him a little shorter in the remake to emphasize this. The trench coat is also designed to protect his heart, which is infamously a tyrant's weak spot, and seems to be armored, which is why you can't do any damage to his body when you try to shoot it. He made a cameo in a few games, such as PUBG, Monster Hunter, and also not only appeared in Reverse, but had a unique super form where he was traditionally naked. When seemingly defeated, he is dropped into a pool of lava, or in the remake, he is just burned by fire off screen, but regardless, this causes him to mutate and transform into a super tyrant, looking more like a classic tyrant complete with a large claw and being much faster and angrier. Both of them are defeated with a rocket launcher.
You lose, big guy.
In the cutscene for the introduction of Mr. X in the original game, you can see that he is in one of several capsules, being transported by helicopter and is dropped into the RPD. We can see that this helicopter is carrying 6 total, implying that more of them will be dropped in other locations in Raccoon City, and there's a really good chance there may be even more helicopters delivering them. One of the main places confirmed to be a drop-off point is the Dead Factory in the original Resident Evil 3, which is yet another thing that was cut out of the remake. There are bodies of US Spec Ops soldiers as well as multiple Mr. X's, and it seems that a major battle happened here. Including both the Mr. X outside the entrance of this room and the Super Tyrant, there are a total of 5 of them, which lines up perfectly with the other 5 capsules the helicopter was carrying. If you've ever wondered what exactly happened in this room, basically the US Army demanded that Umbrella hand over the G-Virus, but when Birkin was killed, they sent in Delta Force to retrieve it. But as we see in the aftermath, it looks like the Tyrants and the Spec Ops killed each other. Also, the giant railgun was supposed to be used by them, but they were never able to, thankfully leaving it for Jill. In one of the best hidden bits of lore in the franchise, Resident Evil Survivor sheds light on how the Tyrants were made, and you even go to a Tyrant plant. Okay, this is a bit disturbing and I was shocked when I read this, so I'm just giving you a warning. This is a lot darker than normal Resident Evil lore. In the files of Survivor, you find various documents talking about a fictional substance called beta-heterononserotonin, which is secreted from the pituitary gland only through puberty, and even more is produced when the brain is in a state of stress or panic. So that means, on Sheena Island, where these tyrants were being mass-produced, children and teenagers were having brain surgeries performed on them to extract this substance, and to ensure they got as much as possible out of them, they were awake during the entire procedure, which is a fatal surgery, by the way. Moving on to something that is a little more fun is the most fashion-forward tyrant, simply called Ivan, who appeared in the Umbrella Chronicles and, believe it or not, is totally canon. He wears these crazy Y2K sunglasses, has an all-white trench coat, and was specifically designed by Umbrella to steal your girl. Just kidding, I'm just trying to lighten the mood after that last one. But he was designed to blend in with humans even more, apparently being able to comprehend human language. In the CG film Resident Evil Damnation, we got to see a one-of-a-kind tyrant dubbed the T-013, and it is one of the largest enemies in the entire franchise, being 14'9". For context, that's almost 5 feet taller than Lady Dimitrescu. In one of the coolest moments in Resident Evil Outbreak File 2, for a brief section of the end of the road scenario, an Umbrella scientist is able to control one of the many Mr. X tyrants, and he will actually walk alongside your characters, killing all hunters that appear and serving as sort of a bodyguard. But of course, the tyrant eventually breaks free of the control and starts targeting you and the other survivors. Also in Resident Evil Outbreak, there was a special mode called Showdown, where you had to fight bosses one after another, and at the end you would have to fight a unique version of Mr. X called Tyrant C. He not only had a red trench coat, but also had some small horns and was extremely fast. Also, unlike other tyrants, he had one attack that was an instant kill move. In Resident Evil Resistance, we actually got to control Mr. X for a bit when playing as the mastermind, Daniel Fabron, who would be able to unleash him onto the map and chase down survivors to crush their heads like watermelons. There is an infamous speedrun by a user called Beast Gaming HD who somehow managed to cause a glitch that spawned 2 Mr. X's, and it's hilariously terrifying. I tried to look up how to do this, but nobody seems to have a clear answer. It may have just been one of those glitches that happened under perfect conditions, but who knows. If you've ever wondered how Mr. X works gameplay-wise, it's pretty simple. He patrols the RPD, but mainly relies on sound to find you. If you can hear his footsteps, that means he's close enough to hear yours. If you walk, you'll be fine, but if you run, he will start heading your way. And the quickest way to summon him to your location is to fire a gun. Though you can use the silenced MQ-11 without alerting him. It's also worth mentioning that when he's off camera and not being rendered, he's actually walking around the RPD at 4 times speed. If you really want to avoid him, the best thing you can do is walk. And obviously don't let him see you. There's been debate about how many Mr. X's there are, but it was confirmed that there is only one, and canonically goes after both Claire and Leon. His fate changes based on which character you're playing as though, with him being killed by William in Claire's scenario, while Leon has to fight him as one of the final bosses in his. You might notice something protruding from the side of his head. As revealed in Outbreak, this is a standard feature on this series of tyrants and is a small explosive that can be detonated remotely, meant as a safeguard to stop him if he turned on his creators. In Outbreak File 2, you can actually get a hold of this switch and permanently kill him if you activate it, though it takes a few seconds to charge up. In the original storyline, there was confusion in the canon about how Ada seemingly died. In Scenario A, she was shot by a net and fell to her death, but in Scenario B, she was slammed into a console by Mr. X and died of her injuries. Capcom seemed to have chosen the latter as the canon, with Darkside Chronicles repeating it, but then in Resident Evil 2 Remake, they backtracked and went with the more dramatic fall death instead.
Take care of yourself, Leon.
No!
As of now in the series, it seems like all tyrants have ceased productions, and I don't think we'll be seeing any more of them, but I guess never say never. A lot of players have debated over the years whether Mr. X should be able to be disabled or somehow stopped in Resident Evil 2, and personally I'm torn on it. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments, and if you learned anything new, then be sure to smash that like button the way Mr. X smashes through a wall. Until next time, I'm Kai Morgan, and as always, thanks for watching Ink Ribbon.